This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Pursue Fitness, and for the first time in a while I'm delighted to be joined by Peter Fury. Peter, how have you been keeping? It's been a while, like I say.
Yeah, been good. Everything's all right, thank you.
It's good to hear. Obviously, you come back now from Saudi Arabia. What's life been like over these past few months, bro? I know, like I said to you when I saw you earlier, you're looking in great shape. So what have you been up to?
I've just been doing a bit of training. I've been doing a bit of running every morning and just watching what I'm eating. That's it, really. No boxing stuff. I'm 51, so just trying to get some pounds off.
What about those body shots from Hughie I saw earlier? Are they making any of a difference on your body there?
Well, they should do. I should have the toughest body in the world, but obviously I haven't. But no, he does throw some mean body shots. So no, used to it.
Now, no, I'm here to talk about boxing, but when I come down and I spoke to you earlier and we were just talking about your background and the Gypsy culture, you mentioned that your ancestry actually goes back to India, and I'm obviously of Indian heritage. So I am very interested by culture, etc., and I've spoken to John about it previously. So just what's your taking of you, and what do you know about your background and your Gypsy culture?
Well, Gypsies, Romanis, whatever, they've moved around from continent to continent hundreds of years. They'll have stayed in places for 300 or 400 years in one place, 300 or 400 years in another place. You know, but a lot of the Gypsy culture from hundreds of years back does originate from India.
How do you see everything evolving and changing over time with regards to the Gypsy culture? Are you still as close to it as what you might have been when you was a child, or have you maybe gone away from it slightly? What's your take with regards to how everything's changed as life changes?
You are what your mother and father are, and if you deny that, then you're not a real person, are you? Your mother and father are proper travelling people. You know, there's not an ounce of non-traveller in our blood. That's what we are. So we are that. I'm very proud of my mother, I love her to death, and I love my father, worship my dad. So I am what my dad is and what my mother is, and that's it. So my culture is what it is. I'm proud of my culture, and that's what it is. I'm not proud of every traveller. You know, there's a lot of tossers in all walks of society, isn't there? You know, but namely, I'm proud of my culture and good travelling people, that's it. Travelling people with morals, respect, that's it. Every young travelling man, everybody, they've all got ambitions. It's a fighting culture, really. You look at all the young travelling kids coming up, you know, and whether it be Irish travellers, English travellers, we're all the same. Travellers are travellers. And, you know, they've all got fighting in them. It's in them to do it. You know, so we are a fighting culture of people.
You've just mentioned, in all walks of life, there's people who you don't necessarily like and you won't necessarily agree with. With regards to the Gypsy culture, it can have a worse reputation than others. What is your take on it? Is it how unjust, or how do you think it's fair at times? What's your thoughts on it?
Listen, everybody let them live the life how they want to live it. How I see life through my binoculars is not how everybody else will see theirs. You know, look, when I was younger, I think the culture's changed for the worse. You know, and my father said, in his day, and in my day, it's gone for the worse. So I think as the ancestors go, they've lived in better times. I think we're living in the shitter times. So, because people's values are dropping by the minute. Every year that goes by, a little bit more of them values are disintegrating. That's what it seems to be anyway. That's my take on it. Whether I'm right or not, that's just my opinion.
How can you see maybe in the future then the Gypsy culture evolving? You know, when I spoke to John seems to think it will step away completely from, like, you don't expect to see many people in caravans, etc., which is the stereotypical association with the Gypsy. Can you see that happening, where the caravans will eventually become fewer and fewer?
Yeah, maybe John's right. Look, it's like anything else. What you got to look at is, how can I put it? It'll never die out. Are you going to die out from being an Asian? You're not here. Yeah. So travellers won't die out either. You are what you are. Listen, I can go abroad in any country, yeah? Somebody will look at me and I'll look at them and they'll know that what I am and I know what they are. But yet we can't even speak the same language. But we know what we are just by looking at each other. So that's just the way it is. It's in you, isn't it? You're not going to change what you are you?
Now, you just mentioned, what you touched on, when you was younger and the upbringing that you would have had following the culture. So what was a young Peter Fury like?
Oh, wow. We come from 4 brothers. One brother was pretty quiet. He never liked trouble. But there was me, myself, my brother Hughie was the oldest, John, he was the second oldest, and we was always, I don't know, always fighting up and down. Always loved to have a tear up, and we was always at it anyway. Whether we be sparring with each other with the boxing gloves on or with everybody else, that's just the way it was. So we had a good growing up. We had a good childhood. We was all close brothers, and we just got on with our job. But we was, that's how we was really. Just we had a good bringing up. We had a good mother and father. They taught us the best they could. But like all young men, you know, you don't always listen to your mother and father, do you?
When you look back and you say, you know, you don't always listen to your mother and your father, is there anything that you would have done differently now, with whatever advice I would have given you?
Yeah, if I'd have listened to my old man, I'd have never been in any trouble. I'd have lived a nice, pleasant life, and then the road would have been a lot smoother. So basically, but look, what's that saying? You can't put all dead on young shoulders. Yeah. You know, life's about learning, creating wisdom, and you've got to be young to get old. So there you are. It's life. Some people learn. Some people are thick as two planks of wood, and they get to 50, and they try and act like they're 20. So they haven't learnt much, have they?
But Peter, all roads have led to you becoming one of the best boxing coaches in the country. Yeah. How do you take the change from what you was like growing up to coming into boxing? Was that something that you could have actually envisaged?
No, I only ever got in boxing for family reasons, and I'm still in boxing for family reasons. You know, I've got a son, and I've got people that need me help and are genuine with me. I'll always help them. I've always been the same. You know, if somebody needs me for something, I'll help them. That's it. Can't change what you are, can you? So, especially with you being family as well. I've got Hughie coming through. I've got Savannah Marshall. She's been with me from day dot, really, of a professional career. So, you know, it's I like the challenge in boxing as well. So that's it. We're looking to add another 2 world champions to what we've done already.
You mentioned obviously the family connection with one of the main reasons behind you sticking with boxing. What do you think you would be doing if it wasn't for having a family which was involved in boxing?
I'll be looking after my wife, my family, and enjoying my family. That's it. I'm a family man, so I don't drink. I don't go out. I don't go out anywhere. So I go home, have a cup of coffee, and I'll maybe watch the news and go to bed. My life's full. I'm up at 6 o'clock every morning, yeah, and I go to bed. I try and go to bed like clockwork, about 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's it. It's routine every day. I'm busy every day. I ain't got time for anything. Even my phone calls, I'm short because I've got 10 other calls to make. It's just the way it is. You know, I don't really like it. I'd rather be semi-retired. But unfortunately, I look in the mirror, I look semi-retired because I've got white beard and everything. But
I disagree, Peter.
I'm certainly not semi-retired. I've never worked so hard in my life, actually. But it's just business commitments and, you know, boxing and stuff. It's boxing's high and low, isn't it? You know, there's such great heights you can achieve, and there's great lows as well. But it's the same as life in general.
How hard do you find it as a coach? You know, I know you guided Tyson to that victory against Klitschko in Germany, and now you've got to try and do the same with Hughie and try and get him a world title fight, and well, not a world title fight, but become a world champion. How difficult is it to manage that expectation that you find on your shoulders and the pressure that comes with it?
I don't see any pressure, but I see this. I see a lot of fighters being protected, and you know, we had this conversation not just the other day, me and Hughie, that, you know, get an opportunity, take it with both hands. Listen, he's only a man on the other side of that ring, yeah? And that's my mentality as a young man as well. I don't care who you are, what you think you are, you're another man. You'll bleed, you've got the same feelings, we're all the same. Get out there and have a go with him. All this hype, number 1 and 2s in the world and all that. That's a lot of bullshit. Listen, it's a fight. Styles make fights. You never know if he's going to beat you or not until that bell goes. So get in and have a go, innit?
I know you mentioned it, you know, if the opportunity comes, you just get in there and you take it. But how hard can it be now to try and find another world title fight? You know, I was talking to Hughie about it earlier. So the Joshua-Ruiz rematch will be seeming to take place at the end of the year. So that's 3 of the titles taken up. Dillian Whyte set to face the winner of Wilder versus Tyson, provided that fight goes ahead next year. And then you might see a unification fight between whoever has the WBC title and then the Joshua-Ruiz winner at the end of next year. You know, how do you actually try and break into getting another world title fight?
How does running water go down a stream? Just keeps going, doesn't it? Same. Just keep fighting. Just keep fighting. Just keep winning. Treading water. Doing what he's doing. Main thing is keeping him active. You know, if he's active and he's improving and he's fighting good names, he's fighting good fighters, though his time will come. So it's just, if he doesn't get the opportunity, it's not his time yet. But look, he will get his opportunity. Everybody does. Like that ring when the bell goes, only two of you in it. That's boxing. You know, you're not going to get froze out. If you're good enough, you'll get there. I've always said the same. You know, my philosophy's always been the same from start to finish. If you're good enough, forget the politics, forget everything. If you're a good fighter, play your cards right, you'll get there regardless. Sooner or later, you're going to get there.
You just mentioned the politics. How difficult can it be then to try and look beyond that? When we just mentioned the situation you can find yourself, it could be the end of next year. There's a unification fight in the heavyweight division between all four world titles. You know, you've got every fighter seems to be signed up to a different network and television now. How difficult can it be to actually negotiate those fights?
It's not difficult for us, you know. We've got a good team around us, you know. Mick Hennessy, you know, Hennessy Sports. You know, he's been with us from day dot, hasn't he? So, you know, he's a very flexible man. You know, so there's loads of options available to us. You know, so it's not about going to different networks or whatever. You know, we know what's what. Everybody works together as a team, and we just do our thing. Opportunities will come, whatever network it'll end up on.
I've known you now, Peter, for it's been 6 years. The first time I met you was you got in touch with my old man when my uncle passed away and took his life. Yeah. It's been a great 6 years to get to know you. Throughout that time, throughout Hughie's career, he has been with Mick. And some people over social media suggest that for him to go on to the next level, he needs to go and move to another network, move to maybe an Eddie Hearn, a Frank Warren, and box on one of their shows. I know loyalty is a massive thing for yourself. Has it ever crossed your mind at all that maybe Hughie might need a different route at some point?
It's got nothing to do with loyalty. It's got nothing to do with anything. Let me just say this to you, yeah? You know, Channel 5 is one of the best building blocks in the world in England for young fighters coming through. It's free terrestrial television. The exposure you get is phenomenal. You know, so it's a good channel to build young fighters through. You know, and they can put good fights on. You know, they pay decent money as well. So Channel 5 ain't. You know, it's not like it's too small of a channel. You know, Hughie's time will come, and when other opportunities come, other channels, other networks, or whatever, we'll take them when the timing's right and the deal's right. We'll take it. It's got nothing to do with loyalties or broadcasting on a television. You know, it's whoever pulls the most money up, wherever the fight is, he'll take it. But the difference is, I won't leave my team behind. They'll come with me. Simple as that.
So let's go on to Hughie now, and we'll start off with the Samuel Peters fight, which was just a matter of a couple of weeks ago. I spoke to you on the phone about it. Dirty tactics employed on Samuel Peters' part, a lot of low blows thrown, and then the injury that he seemed to have to end the fight. What are your thoughts on it now you've had time to reflect?
Listen, I come from the street, you know. If that would have been me and he'd have not put me in the balls, yeah, I'd have stuck the nut on him and punched him right in the bollocks back. You know, he's got to get that angry streak in him. You know, look what he done there. Good learning for him again. He put his hands down, he lied on the referee, Mr. Sportsman over there, yeah, turned away and took such a left hook up the side of the head. That would have poleaxed anybody else. Only the thing is, he has got a good chin on him. He can take a dig. Obviously, he took a full-fledged left hook, which he didn't need to take. So if he was switched on, proper street-wise, that wouldn't have been the case. Because, look, Samuel Peters, I'm not Einstein in boxing, but I know the fights. I study them. I know exactly what we're getting into. In all the years I've been involved in boxing, there's not a fight I've entered and I've been shocked by the opponent. Because I know exactly what that opponent's going to do before he does it. Yeah? And I said to Hughie before this fight, I said, you know him, Samuel Peter, he will get to 7-8 rounds. I said, and if you're not out of there, I said, he will quit it. I said, he'll pull an injury or he'll retire in the stool. That's what I said. And that's what he did. Because he couldn't get near him. Yeah? He was getting no joy. And when fighters like that are coming forward pressing it, he's putting all that power behind his shots. And he's not having any success. One, it's making him tired. He's hitting thin air. Frustration sets in. So he's coming to the end of his stretch. He's felt the power of him because regardless what people think, he does punch and he can hit. So he's obviously thinking to himself, if I get into later rounds and he connects on me, I'm in trouble. Yeah? So he done whatever he could do and he was looking for a way out of it. Now the thing is, when he was hitting Hughie low, he was hitting on the blind side of the referee, so he knew what he was doing. Yeah. But he was hitting him low to get a reaction, which he nearly got because he put his hands down and he had a free shot, didn't he? So Samuel Peters can't be blamed for doing his old man tactics against a young fighter. So good learning. And well done for Samuel Peters because he needs to open his eyes. So Samuel Peters made him open his eyes. And this is why young fighters need to fight veterans like that, because they bring something else to the table. Look, Samuel Peters, yeah? Let's look at the stats. He's ranked number 50 on BoxRec. Yeah? He's not a dummy, he's a two-time world champion. He's coming into that fight with 7 losses out of 40-odd fights. He's fought the best there is. Vladimir Klitschko, he gave him fits, had him down 4 times. Vitaly retired him in the 8th. That guy was only 10 pounds heavier than when he was a WBC champion at 26 years of age. But people's looking at Samuel Peters at his build. Look at Samuel Peters when he boxed Hughie. Look at Samuel Peters in his peak. There's no difference. He's built that way. It's all about people today. He's 38. Alexander Povetkin is 39. Is Alexander Povetkin shit? Is he over the hill? He's ranked number 5 in the world still. Dangerous operators. These type of fights, if you're not a world level fighter, you will get exposed. And Samuel Peters is somebody that can expose young fighters. He's got the experience and everything else. So it's a good tick over fight. Good learning experience for him. Got a good 8 rounds in. Turns the corner again. But for me, for Hughie, he never threw no more. I wasn't impressed again. The right hands, he never landed much. And, he should have been teeing off with that right hand a lot more and putting his shots in properly. So what I see with Hughie, he needs to relax a lot more in there. He needs to take his instructions in the corner a lot better. And we've had good conversations after it, and we roll on to the next one. But he's still got work to do there.
Over social media, Hughie got a bit of criticism. People were saying on the Chris Norad fight, who was he? What type of person is he for Hughie to go in with? And then, obviously, Samuel Peters, for no fault of his own, Samuel Peters was employing those tactics that we've just spoke about. What's your take as not just Hughie's trainer but his father when you see people criticising him and we want to see him maybe putting more pressure on, throwing the right hands more like you've said?
I thank him for the criticising because that's what he needs. There's no point in blowing smoke up his ass when he's not doing things as he should, is it? It's a fair comment. Get your right hands off. Get them right hands thrown. Don't telegraph them. Don't keep sending them wide. Pick them straight, send them from the hips. Practiced enough. But let me tell you, look, Samuel Peters wasn't a mug. Everybody thinks it's a foregone conclusion. He's not a foregone conclusion, Samuel Peters. Dangerous in there. If them shots would have caught fire, he put a windmill over. So what I'm saying is, this is a dangerous operator, and maybe that's got a lot to do with it. Look, he come in for the knockout, and I will say this: he was super confident in the build-up, Samuel Peter. He wanted it. He definitely thought he was going to win it. We had Al Bashir saying he was going to beat Hughie as well. Seen him in camp in Vegas. He backed him to beat Hughie by stoppage. So, Al Bashir knows his boxing. And I'm not saying Al Bashir's got it wrong. Al Bashir knows his boxing. But we've got a very talented young kid here who can box. He's just got to put those little bits of pieces together with it. So that he knows what he needs to work on. I'm not blind. I can see. I know boxing. So I know what he needs to work on. And that's what we're working on.
You mentioned you want to try and get more of a mean streak into Hughie. How do you go about that with maybe not taking away from his, he's got brilliant footwork, he can choose his shots very well, but how do you make sure that mean streak doesn't take over from what he does do well?
Now look, we're boxing, look, this is the hurt business, whether people think so or not. It's a lovely sport, but it's a paid sport. That opponent's in there to drive your brains in. He's got to understand that. It's not like, oh, thank you very much, this is a game and we'll go home and have a game of snooker. Serious job this. So get serious, practice, dedicate your job and get mentally focused and switched on. But I think the Peters fight was a very, very good fight for him. I'm happy with it because it showed him that it's not a game. I think he woke up to that now for sure.
Do you think there was maybe any thought in Hughie's mind that maybe he was above the Samuel Peters and maybe he overlooked him slightly?
No, you're not looking at two-time former WBC champion, are you? See, look, let's look at the stats again. Let's look at his losses. He went 9 rounds with Elenius and got caught with a hook, and that done him. But look at his weight with Elenius. He was 260. Yeah? In this fight, he was 261. Elenius was in 2012, 2011. Yeah? Now then, let's have a look when he fought Pulev. He retired after 3 rounds. What was his weight? 285. What does that tell you? He hadn't even trained. He come in out of shape. So disregard the Pulev loss. He gassed, didn't he? He was 280 plus. Come in at 20 plus stone. He couldn't even move around the ring. But that was good luck for Pulev. Don't gauge Samuel Peters on that performance. Gauge him when he's been 260. Hughie got him at 260. So that's the difference. So I know the stats of boxing. I look. No, I'm not going to be surprised by anything. And like I said before this interview, I don't care if he's coming in a wheelchair. I don't overlook anything. Yeah. That's why we're where we are in boxing.
Now,
you don't get caught with your trousers down, do you?
Now, another fight which happened just before that, the Chris Norad victory. Chances to reflect on that once again. I haven't had a chance to speak to you since. Your thoughts on Hughie's performance?
Domestic level, didn't value Chris Norad and walked straight through him, basically. So he ain't learning anything. But you can't walk through quality operators, can you? You've got to take it more serious. And he is a big puncher, Samuel Peters. So he's got to be took more serious. He's got to box him. Look, the first 2 or 3 rounds is okay. Happy with that. He's had a look at him. But what he needed to do is ping his shots off and work on a lot of the stuff we've been working on. So he's got to do that. And look, he needs to see what happens in the next fight.
You mentioned the next fight. I know you said on the phone to me yesterday that there's nothing really you've spoken about, but what's running through your mind? What level do you see Hughie fighting at? There's some very good domestic fights that might be there from the David Prices, Derek Chisoras, Daniel Dubois, etc. Or do you think that Hughie should be operating above those guys?
No, the guys you've mentioned have been around a long time. So not that he's above anybody. Styles make fights, like I've always said. But we're looking to... we have been offered some fights, which I don't want to discuss at the moment. And we've been offered about 7 fights. 7 names have been put to us, and I've picked the best one. Hughie's picked the best one. So if that fight comes off, it'll be big news if we can get it. We've been offered it. We said yes to it. So let's see if they can make it.
What clues can you give us as to who it'll be, Peter?
I can't give you any clues because being offered something can actually happen. It's 2 different things. So let's see. Let's get it happening. But the people that's offered it to us, make no mistake, they need to play games. They ain't make the numbers up. Well, let's get it on.
Just to get your thoughts then on a few fights which have happened over the past couple of weeks in the heavyweight division. We'll start off with this past weekend. Dillian Whyte beating Oscar Rivas with a unanimous decision victory. Did you catch that fight?
Do you know what? I'm in between moving houses. And what I've done is I spoke to my son. I said, because I was due to get the internet on in this new house we've got.
Yeah.
And it never come on in time. So I said to my son, Joe, pay for that fight. So he paid for the fight, so I was going to go back on a Sunday and watch it. So I never got a chance to see it. So I came back on the Monday. And for some reason, it's gone off, because I thought when you pay for it, it stays on.
Yeah, it should do.
Well, it's run off. I can't get it. But I seen clippings of it, and I thought, look, Rivas ain't a mug. He done well. And he's took fighters, dangerous fights, because these fights can go wrong. And look, he never had it one-way traffic. I believe he went down, but he showed heart. He got up and done what he had to do. So congratulations to him. And look, you can't knock a man through fighting who's there. He's had some tough fights and he's come through them. So he deserves his position. And why not get in the big money fights? Why not fight Wilder? They're good fights for him.
Now, there's 2 other heavyweight fights on that card, and I know that you've just said that about you was now able to watch it. What do you know though about Derek Chisora's stoppage victory of Artur Szpilka and David Price's victory over Dave Allen?
They're all good, Szpilka was a clever match because Szpilka, keeps getting knocked out in the same fashion. You look at his fights before, and he got bladdered before. Since Wilder, I don't think he's been able to stand on his 2 feet. So it's a good fight, Chisora, a good confidence builder for him. But I don't read much into it. Szpilka he's got a chin like a piece of toilet roll. So basically, can't really look at it. But still a good performance because you've got to get it on that chin. So good performance of Derek Chisora. I think he's doing well. Good guy in boxing. Deserves his shot and good fighter. He's rugged Chisora. Stand in front of him. He'll give anybody trouble. His game. He takes a lot of boxes. But if you're not a good boxer, you're in trouble with Chisora. It's simple. Who else?
Bryce Allen.
It's an hard sport in there. But I'm very pleased for Joe Mack and the team there in the Rotunda gym. I know the lads very well. They're good pals of mine. And I've got a lot of respect for the boys there. So I'm so pleased that they've been able to turn the corner with David Price. We had a few discussions on that, and he really has. He's turned the corner with him. So I'm very happy for David Price because how many times have you got to go to the well, come unstuck, and keep going? So he needs a lot of respect for keeping going. How many fighters would you see chuck it? They wouldn't continue, would they? But he's dug in. And, I say, please God, he turns the corner and he gets confidence from that now and starts building his career, which is long overdue. So hopefully he can still do some good things in boxing. I hope he does, because if anybody deserves a break, it's him.
And the week before that, I know it was the day after Hughie fought, Daniel Dubois defeating Nathan Gorman. Did you catch that one at all?
I did, I got to see that. I thought Nathan fought the wrong fight. You see, look, you're fighting heavyweight boxing, where's your jab? He's big puncher, Dubois. Yeah. Are you going to keep that? Are you going to keep that at bay? Throw your jab. Move, stay loose, and get behind your jab. He never really got behind his jab, and fair play to Dubois. He found his range very early because there was no range from Nathan with the jab. So I think Nathan and his team will look at that fight and see exactly what they've done wrong. But this is a heavyweight division. You've got to be able to negate his distances and know the dangers when you're fighting a puncher is how to deal with it. When you've got to fire them jabs, you can't all of a sudden wait, take the shots and fire your own back against a big puncher. Because I think that it seemed to be that's what he was doing in there. So, but you got again, it's not the end of the road here. You got to give Nathan all the credit in the world because he was getting it, and he was getting it. He wasn't winning the rounds. What I can see, he was getting completely one-sided beat there because he was getting outboxed and against a big puncher as well. So the tactics was wrong, but what he done, he took the shots, he was getting up, and he was trying his best to come back, and he was letting his shots go as well. So he's got it in him, and he'll come back again, and he'll learn from that. This is all about learning, and it ain't done any fighters. The other ones progressed on now, and to big and better things. It was a big gamble for both of them. And he's come through it. Nathan will have to go back to the drawing board and have a look and develop what he's going to do. But he can do it again, look, it's no problem, is it? Let's not forget how many fighters has been chinned, down and out, come back. He's young as well. Of course he'll come back. And let me tell you, it's only the only reasons Nathan's lost is the mistakes he's made in there. Not because he hasn't got a good chin, not because he can't fight, not because of any of this, it's because of mistakes he's made. And it's good to take these fights, yeah? Look, we all want to stick our chest out and be the best ever, but you can do when you're fighting lemons, can't you? But when you're fighting in 50-50 fights, the true colours comes out. You see where you are. So in a way, what he's got to do is take it as a blessing and say, listen, this is where I'm at. And I'm sure he will do. Ricky Hatton, he'll have a look at it and say, right, this is where we are. Let's build on it. And he will build on it. Because look, you don't put your hand in the fire twice, do you? But unless you put your hand in the fire, you don't know what it's like to be burned, do you? So he's been burned. Don't do it again. Simple. It's not so simple as I'm saying it, but you know what I mean.
Just timing out there on the camera, so a quick stop and start, go again. How much can people though have to look into the fact that Nathan had his own family issues? So he had a child that was ill at the beginning of camp and throughout, and then he had one born literally within a week of a fight. Do you think how much of a significance, well, it would have been significant, but how much of an impact would that have had on Nathan during fight night?
None. Let's not use any excuses for what you're doing in that ring. It's all bullshit to me. This is a man's game. You're fighting. Don't care if you've got wife problems. I don't care if your aunt died. whatever. You got a job to do. Unless you're prepared or things affecting you, cancel the fight, reschedule it. I don't care if you get in there. Look, he's boxed with a flu. He's boxed with injuries as well. Look, went to Bulgaria 4 weeks ago, he split open. He come open again. Let's not use what it is. Get in there, and it's what it is. Look, he's had fights, hasn't he? Injuries just come open. It is what it is. You can't blame anything. It's happened. It's calculated risk, isn't it? Sometimes you can win by it, sometimes you can lose by it. But getting back to young Nathan Gorman, I think he's got a big future. He can punch. He just ticks the boxes. I didn't like his conditioning. I'm looking at his condition as well. And he reminds me of a young Tyson when he started. He was not in good condition either. So I think he needs to look at his build. And it's not all about being a fat man can fight and others, that and the other. He's carrying a lot of extra flesh there, which he can get off, which will improve his game as well. So I think he needs to look at his conditioning and work on his boxing skills more.
Just want to get your thoughts as well on that same card. Joe Joyce defeating Bryant Jennings again. Your thoughts on that one?
I thought it was a good win. Bryant Jennings is no mug. And he had a tough fight, Joyce. Yeah. But I thought he'd done well. I've always rated Joyce. I think he's a good rugged fighter. Strong, bull strength, keeps coming. Good physique, good fitness, And, I didn't see much he done wrong. I can see major improvements, what Adam Booth's done with him, with the movement he's doing. I think he's improved at least 30%. So, look, he's fighting world level here. You're not blowing these guys away. He's had 10 fights, and he's already fighting at this level. So he wants to get a move on. I know he's vastly experienced, but I didn't see any problems at all. I thought he'd done well. He'll look where he's gone wrong a little bit. He's still getting it a little bit too much. But I think in general, his movement, what he was doing, I think it was a good performance. And Jennings, like I said, he was prepared, went to full 12, took all of his shots, come back. So he'll improve from that, and they'll have a look at the video where they've gone wrong, like we all go wrong and tweak things. But big future, and he's getting there.
Now, Joshua-Ruiz, we're waiting news on that rematch. First and foremost, what was your thoughts on Andi Ruiz's shock victory over Anthony Joshua a couple months ago?
Look, there's not many people that's gone on the front foot with Joshua. So unfortunately, he's gone on the front foot and exposed his weaknesses. He's been able to get his shots off. But, he went on the front foot, he took the gamble, and he nearly come unstuck because Joshua can bang. And, he had him over. And like I said, he took his time, calculated, got up, and he hit him with a good shot, and Joshua really never recovered from it. So it's one of them. But I think the signs was there because he had a lot of weaknesses before. He was getting wobbled in his previous fights and stuff. So there was a lot of vulnerabilities there. But the same with all big guys, you're in here, you're taking a gamble. When the way he fights, he gambles, and sooner or later, when you roll in them dice, high stakes like that, you're going to come undone. And he did, come undone. Can he correct it? Of course he can correct it. Of course he can. I think he's got the bit between his teeth, and he will correct it. But you know what I can't stand in boxing? Yeah, get another trainer. Robert McCracken, he's shit and all that. Well, hang on a minute. The sun shines out of his ass when he's doing well. But because Joshua has a flat performance, the trainer's to blame. Not to blame at all. And I think Joshua, and he's commending for what he said. I'm sticking with Robert. We're in it together, start to finish. That's how people should be. Don't just jump over the thing, because I've had a loss and blame the trainer, do you? I wasn't blaming him when he's 50 million strong or something. Do you know what I mean? So I'm pleased they're doing what they're doing and getting it right. Of course he'll get it right.
So how can you see a rematch playing out between AJ and Andi Ruiz Jr.?
He's got to be confident, not let it get to him too much, and just use his boxing and realise where he's gone wrong and start correcting them flaws. Look, you can have the best movement in the world. What I find with Joshua, as he moved, the whole body moves together. Yeah. He seems to just move like a lamppost around. And that's not being disrespectful, I'm just giving you my opinion of it. He needs more lateral movement. He needs to flow like that. More feints. It's all right moving the legs and doing all of that, but he's still, you can shut your eyes, couldn't you, and jab straight and hit him. Because you can move around like that, look, and be straight. It's as you're moving, it's sort of upper body's got to move, you've got to rotate it all. That's the key in it, if he wants to use his defence properly. I shouldn't really be saying that because one day we might come up against him. So I don't know why I'm opening my mouth, but there you are. I'm giving you an honest opinion because I'm a fight fan myself. So that's what I see. It's all right having all that footwork, but if your upper body's as stiff as a board, you're going to get clipped regardless. You've got to flow. Look, take the shots, move with it, roll with it, get in a rhythm. Roll with the shots. You can have the best movement in the world if your upper body's stiff. If you get it, then maximum impact. That's why boxing's an art, boxing's a skill, and you've got to roll. Well, people don't listen to these sayings, roll with the punches. No more. You can look at things, complicate things. Boxing's as simple as that. Roll with the shots.
You just mentioned the feints, upper body work, something that we've seen you do with Tyson, something that we see with you and Hughie. How do you go about trying to coach that then, especially when, Anthony Joshua, he's 29 now. It's not exactly like, Hughie and Tyson would have been learning it from a young age, whereas AJ, in the middle of his career, I imagine it would be a lot more difficult for him to pick that up now than what it would have been if he'd boxed like that as an amateur, for example.
Well, everything's possible. Look, if you're getting banged out, you'll have to learn sink or swim. A lot of fighters will swim. He's a world-level operator, and I think he will swim. So he'll get it. And, you've got to get into people's minds as well and, say to them, it's like anything else. We have some severe talking to in here. This is a man's sport. And look, it's like, do you want to get electrocuted? Do you know what I mean? Well, move your fucking head, you idiot. Side to side, get moving. When you come back to the corner and you're getting banged all over the place, why is that? Look at it, because you ain't moved your head, have you? So it's all right. You've got to learn. This job's about studying. When you go to school from being a little kid and you study and you see people solicitors, they become prime ministers, they become everything, they become leading doctors. Have they got there through having a brick between the two ears? They've got there through hard work and studying the game. Yeah? You can have the best trainer in the world. If your pupil's an idiot, where's he going? You've got to be able to digest that information, tailor make it to how you want it to do and do what you want to do with it. Not for me telling you what to do and go around the ring like a robot. Yeah, you got to develop it and create it to your style so it works for you, and create your own personality with the knowledge you're given. So that's the thing. That's what you've got to get in. That's what you've got to get in the mind of a fighter.
If you're Deontay Wilder and you're watching Andi Ruiz's knock out Anthony Joshua, firstly, are you disappointed because you know the payday that you've just missed out on? Secondly, are you very disappointed because you know that AJ could go about way, rebuild, and then come back and be a different fighter to what you would have expected?
You can't count anything until it's in the bank. Look, you can't look past fights. The Wilder fight for Joshua was not meant to happen this time. He's got Andi Ruiz, and if he comes for Andi Ruiz Jr., the Wilder fight's even bigger again. So it's all good. Nobody's going wrong. If he loses to Ruiz again, he's totally out the running. He's back to day dot, isn't he? So he'll have to rebuild like Price is doing. He's back on that level. So it's a big fight, but I think he'll get it right. Look, they will get it right.
So you've mentioned styles. What do you make of Deontay Wilder's style then, and what exactly do you think that he needs to work on, and how would you break it down if he was going up against it?
Wilder's a powerhouse with power punches, and to be a power puncher like he is, his feet's got to be flat to the floor. So he's in the ring with a pair of cement boots on. So his movement, he's pretty easy to hit because he's letting you have the shots and relying on the power back. So that's what I see. So like I said, but there's 12 rounds in a fight with him. He's dangerous to the last bell. But again, you can give somebody too much respect. It's a fine balance. So it is what it is. So like I said, he's got vulnerabilities himself, but he makes up for it with the power he's got. But like I said, when you look at the way he boxes and where his feet's at, his feet's like two blocks of cement in there because he's putting his feet for the floor to drive your head off. And that's what you need to do to get the power shots. But there's a big compromise there.
We obviously saw that first fight between Tyson and Wilder where Tyson outboxed him, and then everybody believes, well, most people believe that Tyson should have been awarded the fight and the victory. Is that just a matter of just Wilder's he relies on his power no matter who he's fighting, or do you think that there is other aspects to his game that he's good at and that he can bring into a fight?
Who?
Deontay Wilder. Do you think he relies too much on that power?
Yeah, he'll improve, won't he? He's winning. He's had a good win against Brazil, hasn't he? So it is what it is. These fights are out there. They've all got to keep working, haven't they?
How do you see Wilder Ortiz working out? How do you see that fight going?
I just see Wilder beating Ortiz again. I don't see Ortiz hasn't improved to me. It's the same.
And Dillian Whyte obviously waiting to fight one of the WBC title fighters, whether it be Wilder or Fury. If it was Deontay Wilder again, what chance do you give Dillian Whyte against Deontay Wilder?
I give him every chance. Look, he's got to be. Look, anything can happen with Wilder. Make a mistake and your lights are out. But if he makes a mistake, his lights are out. So it's a good fight. I think between him and Dillian Whyte could be a 50-50 fight. It could go either way. There's one thing: Dillian Whyte will come. He won't be overawed by it. He'll bite on his gum shield and give it everything he's got, won't he? And why shouldn't he? He's earned it. He's come up the hard way, so he deserves his shot like anybody else. Whether he's going to get his shot or not, that depends of where he's at. But I think he's in the running. He'll get there. I think White's had his hard fights now. He just needs to tick over, maybe get just a body and bide his time for his big shot.
Well, Peter Fury, I've kept you for long enough. Any final words? What are your plans to know? What is Peter Fury up to?
I'm going to go home, probably make some boring phone calls again. What else is there? Go home, have my tea. And,
Tune into Love Island? See Tommy or?
No, tune into none of that bollocks, that 51-year-old. What look at that for? So no interest with that whatsoever. It's not my culture, and like I said, I can't relate to shit like that.
Well, Peter, as always, straight talking. One of the reasons why I do love catching up with you and talking to you. You just say it how it is. So as always, sir, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
You're very welcome, and good to see you, young fella. Always is.